laptop that made that noise. I'm a stand-up comedian, so this is a very new kind of thing for me to do a talk. I'm not going to start the talk right now, but you're going to give me about 20 seconds before the 18 minutes timeline. I have a problem إن دائما أنا بكلم يعني مش عارف أركز على الموضوع دائما مشكلة بس المهم. Usually I would have memorized the script, but I've been taking medication that's made my short-term memory go a little. So مش مشكلة. المهم إن هيكون في ده أول مرة English TED Talk at Ahram Canadian University. So كلنا موجودين مع بعض في حتة التاريخ بتاع أحرام كندا Canadian University. معلش العربي بتاعي مكسر زي جوجل ترانسليت. So يعني أبوي مصري أمي عراقية ومدرسة لبنانية في لندن، بس أعرف من الشكل داعش، بس أنا أبعد حاجة من داعش، يعني أنا التارجت بتاع داعش، يعني هم بيفرقوني يقول you have to catch him. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, with your kind permission, I will step here in the red carpet. That's good? Okay. I forgot. The magic behind Hollywood has just been destroyed with the little red carpet you can't see. My purple shoes. Okay. Chapter 1. Beethoven's deafness, or what we didn't know, or better known as what we didn't know about Beethoven. I was 5 years old when my father loaded the old reel-to-reel player with Beethoven's Symphony No. 5, Fate in C minor. It's a dramatic piece, no doubt. Some argue this piece is what heralded his going deaf. Others think it was the dawning of his life, that he was not going to live much longer. He was going to be dying quite soon. I like to think he was having reflective moments. You know, he was playing pensive, looking at his back at his life, and because of his temper, Beethoven also drank a lot. My father felt that he was somehow the reincarnated spirit of Beethoven, and truth was, my dad loved all of Beethoven's work to the point he felt it was superior to, say, Mozart's work. So basically, Beethoven was on my dad's side of the family, and Mozart was on my mother's side of the family, spiritually speaking, of course. I was 8 years old when my folks took me to see Milos Forman's Amadeus. And if any of you have not seen this movie, you have to go and see it. Definitely an epic film, definitely an evolution along the journey of my life. It was the first album I bought, and I could listen to it in any kind of condition, whether I was writing homework, coursework, projects, especially reading, if I was sleeping, eating, dreaming, believing, achieving, working, gigging. Yeah, that's me as a nun. And existing and, oh yeah, perceiving. Yeah, that's right. Perceiving, thinking, existing, and extinguishing. There were losses in my life whenever I heard the soundtrack at various times, but the soundtrack did make my life very much easier to cope with. And you know what? If there's one piece of advice I can give all of you is to watch Amadeus with your family. It's not too naughty, your parents will not get mad, it's not awkward in any way. Awkward, like when watching TV5 Monde with your mother and there's a sex scene on the screen. I hope. Watch that film with your family, with love in your heart for music, as I did. It has a film I've watched maybe over 100 times, maybe even sometimes 3 times a month. It's that good a film. If we take our knowledge of Beethoven's deafness, it has been mostly perceived that he was deaf from being stuck by his father. Beethoven, kommst hier! Was ist das aber? Warum? Ich liebe dich! If any of you don't speak German, that's why I love you. Now, Beethoven was born in the birth of forensic science. Wow, that was funny. Basically, he stated in his will that his body would have an autopsy, tashriq, very controversial, and basically, after performed on his body post-mortem, to figure out why he was dead, in Sababu and Atfash. But he wouldn't know, but that was what's going to happen. Shortly after writing his will, he was caught in a storm and caught pneumonia, where he knew he was going to be dying quite soon. He cut a lock of his hair, which he put in an airtight bubble, and then placed in an airtight glass. When the autopsy began and they reached his skull, Gangama, I told you, I am Google Translate. When they reached his skull, where the eardrums should have been, they reached and there was no space. It was filled out. يعني مفيش فتحات للجمجمة لأي حاجة جوه الودن. It was hollowed out. You know how you hope. Back to his hair. Autograph dated. He gave that to his servant as a token of gratitude. History sent the lock of Beethoven's hair from Germany, Finland, and finally in an attic in Finland, where a Finnish doctor was prescribing tranquilizer to help babies sleep. You have to take this, I'm sorry. There are Nazis in the street and yours of yours undesirables, I'm sorry. Then it made its way to Sotheby's. Some people say it reached 8,500, some say 10,000 sterling. يعني 100,000 جنيه مصري عشان شعر مين هذا الراجل بيتهوفن. Point was, after testing the hair at the world's largest X-ray machine, it was highly discovered that he was high in one element that can be lethal in small doses: lead. See, during the 18th century, Puritans in Germany, they used to put lead in wine. And also, basically, the sauna, you like to, what we say in English, sauna, sauna in Arabic, sauna. Like to spend a lot of time, and in that era, all the pipes of that time were made out of lead. So lead wine, lead water, lead sauna. If lead was radioactive, he would have been glowing like Las Vegas. I thought I wasn't going to remember all this. Which brings us to chapter 2, appearances can be deceiving, or what we display. In 2001, August 2001, I was sitting in my dentist's chair where a little discovery was made that I had cancer. And where, of all places, in my head, specifically in my jaw. And could you turn up the volume on the laptop? There we go. Little Tchaikovsky, Oum Tchaikovsky. I had used to smoke anywhere from 1 to 3 packets a day from 1993 to 2001, and it took its toll. Heavy smoking took its toll. I had cancer, and it was scary, but it was also a great moment where I got to live my life to the fullest capacity. I did, however, find a cure for cancer. Did. You've all heard that, there are foods that fight cancer, like leafy greens, broccoli, fruits, to avoid meats and luncheon that's injected with nitrates and steroids. There's also another 2 things we often overlook, which is the belief that you're going to live and survive it. And the second, which is more controversial, is the cannabis oil, marijuana. Yes. A leafy green plant that has untold riches of remedies that can help with such diseases as multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, can stimulate the appetite in AIDS patients, help counteract the nausea of chemotherapy, as well as cure cancer. After doing 3 years of medicine that was necessary but illegal, I am cancer-free. No more cancer.
I told you they would applause at that point.
The cure was controversial, yes. But is it not more controversy around medicine that causes more cancerous tumors to grow, while natural remedies are ignored for the big pharmaceutical giants that make $3.5 billion a year? More money! Being homeless. Yeah, I was homeless while I was at Roehampton University, 8 months. And while trying to finish a degree, dark thoughts of suicide crept into my head. Hiding any optimism, but alhamdulillah, family is a blessed pillar to lean on. What amazes me about classical music, certain pieces of music could shift my mood, trigger a wave of grief for the lost loved ones to that great gig in the sky. And certain pieces, upon hearing them, can take me to a different level of memories. Love of family, realizing the truth of the strong tide. No, I said lower, not kill. That's lower, that's kill. When you have a headache, when you have a headache you are prescribed aspirin. When you have a cold or a flu, you're given cold and flu medicine. But what do you prescribe someone who has heartache and sorrow? Well, step 1 is talk with a family member. Step 2, laughter with your friend. And step 3 is listen to classical music, as we are doing right now. Yes, it's rather jolly. Which now brings us into having a ripple effect onto your inner self, which will start the healing process. Now we come to chapter 3, or better known as the internet. Noodle Google versus Steak Google. When I was speaking with a friend about this TED Talk, I came up with an expression, Noodle Google. When you're at a workplace and your Google searches are like China, where they give you 7 million pages, but you're only allowed to see 3. You know, no one ever here been to China? I guess not. It is like that in China. You have, it'll show, like you'll go into Google and it'll say 7 million pages, but you're only allowed to see like 3 of those pages. Imagine. Like, what about the other 6,999,993 pages? They might have something. We laughed and more, and I can start this talk. Ripples of the internet have a profound effect on us all. It amazes me how when you think a funny thought, eventually it ends up as a meme. I remember that time when Oum Kalthoum and Abdul Halim Hafiz were sitting in a cafe, at an internet cafe, and as Oum Kalthoum was checking her Twitter account, she remarked, "If it's on the internet, it must be true." And you've all heard that once it's on the internet, it's there forever. Well, how true is social media and how we see ourselves? For example, with what we post, we've all been there, whether we're mad, sad, plain old frustrated, we post or we do a little rant, we express anger, but it's there, it stays there forever, never going. Even when you delete it, it's there. Which brings us to chapter 4. Family support is a two-way street. The following quote was told to me when I was at the lowest point in my life. I may be flat at the bottom, but there are times that the positive memories can flood my mind at the darkest periods of my life. Even though the stars were never visible, I could feel the stars, and likewise, the love of my family is brighter than the sun. A source of inspiration that helps us keep us all going, you know? what we say in Arabic, bint al-lahza, the daughter of the moment. What they say in German, Zeitgeist, that realization of awareness of now. That where we are is the love of family can travel across oceans, has no distance. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. If you're lucky enough to have someone in your family that loves you, you cannot leave them unless they want to kill you, and that's a different talk which I can't give. I wish I could share all the music that my family gave me growing up. Their influence with love of music over the years. I would not have been able to survive so many losses. If it wasn't for the power of classical music and love and patience to learn the story behind each piece, each composer, who was insane, who loved his brother's wife, who had gambling and drinking problems, yet was by far a genius. His music could touch humans, animals. Qasdi Mozart, ya jama'ah. Such music was sent to help us, as family helps us to understand the world and everything in it. That is right, that is wrong, why there is hurt. And, of course, happiness. Birthday cakes, laughter, and memories of family days that can make us smile and sleep deeply, like there wasn't a care in the world. Whatever pains we incur in life, our family are always there for us through good times, bad times, a two-way street. As we would also want to have give, to love, to sacrifice, to earn their respect, and love and revere what they have brought into our fabric. This makes our identity complete. This is family love. And not the wrong kind of love. The type you learn can make or break you depending on how determined you are to not let it break you. Nothing equals a hug from a parent. That quote's from my mother. Which now brings us to chapter 5. Friends, your chosen family, or better known, life is not a TV show, or isn't. Accidental tests are a very long, painful ordeal of our tolerance. ثلاثة أربعة الحكمة من التغافل, which translates, we tolerate each other by hook or by crook until the moral fiber indicates an alarming decision. In other words, good riddance to bad garbage. The good friends that we grow up with remind me of the pine tree, شجرة الصنوبر. The smell divine. Its smell is beautiful, the sight is beautiful, it stands in all weather conditions, and above all, the nut it yields. If you're one of the most delicious, expensive, and dear, hard-to-get treats. Hence, if we're lucky to hold on, those who have come along the way and prove to be رُبَّ أَخٍ لَمَّ تُلْحِدُ أُمُّكَ. I think I said that wrong. My mother told me I have to practice that. I know it probably came across. My true brother from another mother, يعني ما كانش شتيمة. Everyone's looking at me like I just said the wrong swear word. I'm going to tell my mother this is what happened. She'll be like, I told you it's ummuk, مش ummak. The faster than lightning times we live in, unfortunately, is leaving its print on us, individually. Yet lo and behold, name it fate, name it fortune, from above, we are privileged with a few, a very lucky few. The friends we don't get to see too often are the ones we carry in our hearts and minds, our thoughts and prayers. Sounds like an American president after any disaster. Our hearts and minds, thoughts and prayers go to those families. True friends are the medicine of life, and if I can quote Charles Dickens, there are dark shadows on the earth, but its lights are stronger in the contrast. Chapter 6, Dark Times, or better known as How Laughter Stopped My Insanity. We would never think that a day such as, for example, I don't know, the day my father passed away, that I would have a moment of stand-up material, moment. Not the dying part, مش يعني خربان دماغي, لا. After the funeral, outside, met my father's cousin, older cousin, and his name is Hassan Hashish. And we all know what hashish is. In case any of you don't know. And the dialogue went more or less like this. Saif, this is your cousin Hassan Hashish. You're Hassan Hashish? I thought you were the guy that used to sort my father out with hashish back in the day. And he could بتظبطه في الغرز انت. He was like, Saif, he's a Supreme Court judge. Such moments like that always happen. As a comedian, I'm always carrying my notebook because, let's be fair, you never know when you're going to have a moment like that, positive and the negative. And sometimes I go, can I make people laugh in this scenario? Sometimes, or mostly, the answer is yes, or yes, but it needs work. Essentially, it is an Eastern philosophy. And looking at life as a festival of great moments, interrupted by lousy moments, is the key to understanding how life works. The Japan has earthquakes, typhoons, bees the size of your fist, radioactive areas like Fukushima, yet they smile through it all. They accept it because it's their karma. As they say, Shiga taganai ne, karma ne, which means what are you going to do, right? It's karma, right? Life is like a battery. You have to take the positive and the negative to make it work. So that's what is life. Be a battery. Take the positive and the negative. Which brings us to chapter 7, the final stage of the talk. Comedy is the key. Signs are all around us. From the famous words of J.R.R. Signs are all around us. No. Yes. But the music went. Why? Why you do this to me? Signs are all around us. TED in the United States, you're going to have to take time off for this. Not for me, okay? Just letting you guys know. Signs are all around us. The famous words by J.R.R. Tolkien says, not all those who wander are lost. Because we are not lost. We are never lost. We are exactly where we are meant to be. The drum beats the same around the world. The world can move differently, but the message is the same. Love. Love for my family helped me through the journey, and I can say at the lowest point, I was lucky to have my family where I needed them to be. And if I couldn't be with them physically, I could imagine myself there for a moment to send the energy through the cosmos. That we are not alone. That there is always someone who loves you, that is thinking about you. Whenever I was lost, I could see the path. I knew that there was able to laugh, because when you surround yourself with positive people, you flourish, you succeed. Like dropping a pebble and watching the ripples move outwards around you, everything is affected by your mood. When I was at university, I heard this beautiful quote that seems to have been adopted without food. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Because what I heard at university was that history is a series of events. Lao Tzu said it better, I do believe, as there is more poetry and an overwhelming wave of emotions when you look back at life and say everything has happened, good and bad, leads me to where I am at this moment. Cogito, ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Descartes, many have interpreted this over the years. Some don't understand it. He himself was at the end of the search for the meaning to life. Others don't understand that basically he searched his mind for a statement that could not be doubted. He found that he could not doubt that he himself existed, as he was the one doing the doubting in the first place.
I don't think I exist. No, wait, I do.
I like to think a lot because I know I exist and I do overthink everything. Sometimes, as we become pensive, we don't realize there are others who think about themselves in this moment, let alone us. Truth is, like everything in life, it is a two-way street. So the events and how they lead you to where you are meant to be, it can make your head hurt. But knowing you exist only hurts if you don't think you are making a difference. A washed kettle never boils. An English proverb. And there's always these little wisdoms growing up, you know, it's diction time, size 9, or the Arabian proverb, al-waqtu sayfun, kal-sayfi idam fasa'u yafa'a, which translates as, time is a sword. You don't use it to chop time down, it will chop you to pieces. A washed kanaka, on the other hand, a washed kettle never boils, but when you're making your precious Turkish coffee, that you have to watch the small mini kettle, the kanaka, because time is the secret. And stirring it and waiting for that perfect circle so you can get to wish the face on that perfect cup of coffee. In that wisdom we learn that time really is the secret chain for all the events that take you through the journey that is your life. We breathe, we eat, we sleep, we drink, we live. It's called living. But being alive isn't a whole different aspect. It's feeling, tasting, appreciating the very existence of each moment of your life. In essence, being alive is the best journey you could ever take in your life. I took living for granted. It was Beethoven, Mozart, my parents, my friends, close friends and siblings, along with laughter that made me feel alive. My name is Saif Kandil, and it's been a pleasure being alive with you all. Do you want to take another picture of me closer to the TEDx sign, or do you want to take a picture of that? Should I go? Should I walk on the stage? Do I give you a high five, a hug? Let's hug it.